And we are live. Okay, welcome back to Why, everybody. So this is sort of something new we're trying. I do not have Evan with me today. He had some stuff to take care of this week, but it ended up being kind of good timing because we're trying to start something new called First Friday, and it's going to be the first Friday of every new month. I'm going to have a guest on here instead of Evan, because Evan's not that important to me. So anyway, no, Evan's been good. Evan's been really good. He's just been busy, and he's been busy at a good time. So, but today I have with me my older brother and fellow bully, and the guy I learned nothing from, the guy who didn't respect me my entire life, Conner Torres.
Can I open the wine now?
Yeah, you can open the wine
Okay,
now.
awesome. Okay, so what were we talking about? Me as a game designer, me as a teacher.
Clearly not enough. I'm going to pour some more.
Was that a lot? Couldn't tell.
Seemed like a lot.
Okay. Me as a college professor.
How about we just say who the fuck you are? We haven't gotten there yet. So,
All right.
yes, my older brother, he is a game developer. I wouldn't even say you're an indie developer still,
Yeah.
but like you're quite a successful one. So we're going to go through all that, how you got into that, growing up, how the business is, because, there's quite some characters in this business.
My goodness,
I'm amazed.
It's
like
crazy.
It's like really bad car insurance or something sometimes.
Yeah, it's scummy.
Really weird.
How long have
Yeah.
I been doing games professionally, would you say? I mean, you should know. I know the number, but what would you guess it would be?
I would say,
For this, and then we're going to compare the stories that I have.
well, we'll get there, but I don't know if we'll start there. But I would say professionally, you've been
It even depends
6 to 8 years, somewhere between that.
Really?
Well, if you start with modding,
Well, yeah, but I wouldn't consider that professionally. But I started about 6 to 8 years ago. I was making mods for my favorite video game ever called Morrowind, The Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind from 2003. That game was like a religious experience for me.
oh yeah,
So I played
Me
it
too.
in like 7th or 8th
Yeah.
grade. Yeah, and then I remember you were like, I was 16 and you were like 12 when you played it or something. And I was like, finally he's getting
no,
into
not
it.
even. I was older.
You were older
I've
than
been
that?
playing Morrowind as like a kid forever. I've been playing since I was like, honestly, like 8 or 9. Like seriously.
Yeah.
I didn't actually get into it because it's a really difficult game. That's the thing. It's a tough game to get into just because it's very old and it's hard. I mean, it's a hard freaking game. And so when you're like 8 or 9, you're not gonna have a real experience with that game. But when I was like 13, 14, that's when I like really played it and I beat it for the first time. And yeah, I was in 8th grade.
So you're
but that
13 or
game-
14?
Yes.
Okay, I remember because we've talked about how like there's a difference that you hit. It's almost like a puberty thing where you realize, and that doesn't happen to everybody, but definitely happened to you, happened to me. Where you realize the difference between a movie and a film.
Yes.
And it's like this awakening. And sometimes some movies are films. So like, and you watch it again as an adult, and it's a completely different experience. E.T., right? Poster behind me. I don't even know if it's visible.
Pulp Fiction.
Yeah. Pulp Fiction's a film, mostly,
film.
not a
It's a
movie.
film.
Really,
Not even
you know?
mostly. All the way, it's a film.
Yeah,
It's perfect.
E.T.'s great because it's a movie,
Right.
but secretly it's a film.
Mm-hmm.
Godfather, film all the way. And so,
Shark Boy and Lava Girl film.
yeah, film, classic, one of the best. That, Gone with the Wind, Citizen Kane, and
Shark Boy and Lava
God
Girl.
would be the third one.
God would be the fourth one.
The fourth one, yeah. So there was a moment when, I'm talking now. I'm like all into it and like.
It's cool. It's cool. Talk
Okay,
into it.
so-
You're fine. Yeah.
So there was that moment where you had these video games that then were like more than something. So I was like 7th, 8th grade. Summer of 7th grade it was when I was playing Morrowind. And my favorite game up until that point was Halo. And Halo was this huge, like, impactful thing. And it's totally, like, it's full of art and all that. But I've been delving into this Morrowind game, which is completely different because the whole thing was just some country on some disc that I could go into.
Yeah.
And the country was so different and strange. And everyone there, it wasn't an egocentric, and I didn't know this at the time, but it wasn't like most games where it's all about you. In Morrowind, you're just a stranger. And like everybody's been there a long time, longer than you, and they're busy doing their things. They're growing their salt rice. They're managing their ebony mines. They're trading their slaves. They're wielding their magic. They're engaging in their political factions. They're shipping their goods across the Sea of Ghosts.
2002. This came out.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, 2002, huh?
2002.
I keep saying 2003. It is 2002, I think.
I think so.
Yeah. So then it's a game that, first off, I didn't even know how to story when I first played it. I played it for a full year without knowing it had a story. it's just like messing around, going to these different cities, wherever I wanted to go. And then when I did discover there was a story, because it was so subtle, it's so easy to miss. The story ends up being one of the most absolutely incredibly deep, beautiful, haunting, real, very real seeming historical experiences. And that moved me so much that I remember we were like in Hawaii at the time when I was like, for like 2 weeks where I didn't have an Xbox to play anything because I've been playing it all summer. So I'm like actually experiencing, this life thing. I remember being in the water consciously around like the sunset and like a wave crashing over me. This is on Black Rock Beach, Maui. And me having this like epiphany that Morrowind, not Halo, was actually my favorite game. And the deep sense of how special it was. And so that was like a profound experience. And then I had the experience in films and other things later on in the road. I wasn't totally into games forever. I'm not a big gamer. I don't play a lot of games.
We were OG to Morrowind too.
Yeah.
We were.
You think, yeah.
Before
Oblivion.
That's right.
We
had
on
it
Xbox,
before
yeah.
Oblivion. Yeah.
Although I think I was playing it around the time Oblivion came out. I don't think I was playing it in 2003 at all. I think I was playing it in 2005.
No, not at all.
I would have been 12 in
it
2005.
was already pretty old when we got it, but it was like right before Oblivion came out. But we played it first, or at least I remember playing that first, like before I even knew what Oblivion was. So we were like right at that golden age of Bethesda.
I'm just that thing is not a video game. Like that thing is something else.
Yeah,
it's better than some of the greatest literature I've ever encountered.
Oh, it is
the greatest
yeah.
films I've ever
it
encountered.
Is like the best.
It happens to be a video game, but you call it. That's why I hate that term video game because it's such a bad term. It's so antiquated. Think about the words in that video. Like that's like what video is an antiquated. It's like VHS, right? Video.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And then game, and it's like, can you really call it a game if I give you another country that you can go into? Is that a game? I don't know if that is.
They didn't put that on, your passport when you travel. It's a game.
So,
welcome to Thailand.
Yeah. Welcome to Australia, home of the shipping containers. Okay. We should tell that story.
No, we should.
We read it. So.
But yeah, you're basically saying that.
So what I say is, as a young adult, which means I graduated high school and I didn't know what to do, but I was so interested in so many things and art and things, and really like film and things that you're interested in.
Oh yeah.
And video games are just like whatever. First off, I didn't understand how video games worked. So and I could Google it and it was like insane. I knew programming was involved, but I had no idea how to do it. What I am doing is like discovering you can make mods for Morrowind, or I'd heard of that, and I thought, okay, what if I make a mod? I was 19 at this time. And so I remember I made a mod for Morrowind for you to play that was an archaeology-based mod. I never finished it. And it was supposed to be this... And I was interested... Oh, you never played it?
No, you didn't finish it.
Oh, because it was all top secret and stuff. And basically it was an archaeological dig in Satanin, and... The archaeological crew went missing, and they found like this under dwarven city and all this stuff. And I never finished it because the file got totally corrupted. So then the second mod, which was really my first mod, I ended up doing at the late age of 19. Again, just because I'm like going to community college, I'm doing other things. I'm like pursuing I think band stuff at this time, doing music, doing some film stuff, going to college, whatever. And like kind of not knowing what to do. And I remember kind of almost having like this midlife crisis, which is common, at that age, and setting up to go out to Belize to do archaeology for real on a field site.
It shows how much we're alike, honestly. Really are. Our lives align the same way almost.
Yeah.
Don't they?
Yeah.
Like I did the same thing with Thailand.
Yeah, you did.
I literally,
same.
And then after
you had to get out.
After you came to Belize, didn't like for like 6 months everything just work really well? And that's what travel does. It's like seriously, like go travel. It's not even that expensive. It's like if you want like an adrenaline shot for like 6 months to a year of like nothing but like confidence and like actual like good habits, you go travel.
And you're the expert on the travel stuff because after coming back from Belize, I was like, I will not let a year go by without doing that again. And it's been like 5 years.
So what? You're still young. Go
4
do
years. So anyway, but what I had done is I knew I was leaving on the 30th, I think it was, of May. and because it was June 1st was the first date of that, so I had to finish the mod in time. The mod was called the Merchant Fendis, and what it was a quest. It was a story because I wasn't really interested in. I was interested in great stories, and I wanted to write this story that for you to play. I wasn't thinking of putting it online. For you to play, and maybe Karen to play, and just for the sake of making it. And it had all this backstory and stuff. You bring up the terrible Merchant Fendis.
No, but we're going to bring up the other one, too.
Okay,
we'll
good.
compare. But
cool. Okay,
Connor
awesome.
made a trailer for it. It's like one of the worst fucking trailers I've ever seen in my entire life. It's so bad. But I'm not giving you shit for that completely because he had 2 mods, which we'll get to. And the second trailer for that second mod was phenomenal. It's phenomenal. So this one, we're going to shit on this one first, though. So
show some improvement.
Yeah. No, but keep going. Keep going.
So I made the Merchant Fendis, and actually the story is really cool.
Oh, it's a great story. Yeah, it's a good mod. It's like a good mod.
And it has,
just
it
has
has
a shitty
a
trailer.
branching dialogue, or the quest branches in 2 ways. And I did that because my friend Josh was like, "Hey, you're doing this mod? Are you gonna have it branch like in Fallout?" And then I decided, okay, yeah, we'll do that. And basically, the short version of the story is it's in Morrowind, so that the game's from 2002, 2003. So the graphics look like the way they look. But the Morrowind's ultimately the best storytelling machine.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It's like an interactive novel. It's because it's
dude
unique.
On sale.
It's
whole game goes for like not even $10 on Steam with the DLC. I'm always just like, someone just get it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like $8.
And what's unique about Morrowind is all the dialogue happens in text instead of it just all being voice recorded like the later Elder Scrolls games and the Fallout games. So, the Merchant Fendis with 368 views. September 20th, 2014. This is the first thing I ever made that was any kind of game ever. It was a mod for Morrowind. It is the story of a beached ship, not shipwrecked, beached ship, freshly beached, of some merchants, mostly kind of scoundrel, piratey guys, the lizard people, Argonians, Khajiits, and this arrogant Breton named Fendis, who is on the beach.
For those of you who don't speak nerd, that's like the races in Morrowind. So no, I'm including myself in that category because I know what he's talking about. But there's probably like someone who actually has a life. So yeah, go ahead.
So yes, anyway, however,
Khajiits and Argonian,
they got beached right in the worst possible place because right near a town. And you think that'd be great because the town people can help them get their ship out, but they don't really want help because they beached themselves. Carrying a ton of skooma, which is the drugs in Morrowind. That's
what's interesting. What fantasy has drugs in it? Like illegal drugs.
Yeah,
and
right.
That's like an example of just a great game. Like, it's an illegal drug. Yeah.
And so I was looking at like the geography of the game and like realizing like, okay, if you were to get it into this area where this, the volcanic island is of Vordenfell, you'd have to walk it through Morrowind.
Right.
That would be the way to do it. Or you could sail it, but you have to sail around the whole continent and all the way around to the other side. But if you did that, you can dump way more skooma and moon sugar for sale than you could just by having people carrying it, especially through the Velothi Mountains. Like I looked online for all of the lore and everything for this and figuring out, okay, how this. So what I realized is, this would make an impressive business sense because they could drive down the skooma prices and become the only skooma dealer basically in the region if they dumped 300 times the normal amount that's being walked there secretly. So this guy Fendis, though, it was his idea, but he's not some drug lord. He commissioned some drug lord for the drugs with the idea, profit split and everything, and takes the ship to Morrowind.
Reminds me of someone I know.
This guy Fendis, his plan all along was actually to run off with the money and abandon everybody in the crew and everything. And he
definitely reminds me of someone I know.
Right. And so anyway, this part though wasn't expected. Now the crew don't like the guy and they suspect something's up. They want to kill him. And the guy wants you to kill the crew because then he can cut all the loose ends in it. And he promises you a reward. And when you go to kill them, they promise you actually, will you bring Fendis up? And then they slaughter him on the deck. And you find all this stuff out and everything, and you get to decide, okay, do we go with Fendis or do we go with the pirate crew? If you go with the pirate crew, say, hey, let's bring Fendis on board because he's on the ship. They're like, you need to convince him to come back. And if you convince him to come back, and you think about this, you're trying to make a story happen, but you have to do the inevitable programming because I had to make it so that the guy walks to the ship after you agree, okay, let's go to the ship. How do you do that? So I'm Googling and looking up tutorials and going, okay, AI move to location, coordinate 00, whatever. And that's what ended up being, and I think the theme of everything is, I am an artist at heart. Programming is a means to realizing an artistic end. Okay, so I want Fendis to walk to the ship. I have to make that happen. So that's where that comes in. So anyway, you go to the ship, they kill him, and then they decide to kill you. And then if you do that, you'll find a map on their body. Not really a map, but like a description of a location. That's kind of hard to find, but if you follow the landmarks, it takes you to a treasure trove of all this, where all the drops go.
We're going to be spoiling the end of Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker too, without warning people. So.
Oh yeah. Okay.
No, I'm kidding. Go ahead. Just giving shit. Like no one plays the game anymore.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Everyone who plays the game are like they're the people that mod it. No new people are going to do mods.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at least for this game.
So
I'm just giving you shit.
If you go with Fendis though, and you kill the crew, when you come back to where he is, he's gone. Again, more programming, and there's a note in his place that says basically, "Hey, sucker, whatever. Thanks for the free for doing that." And then you go in this wild goose chase from city to city to find him. And you go to each tavern and you talk, and they're like, "Hey, he was just here." And then you left for like 4 cities all across the continent. Finally, you get to him. He begs for his life, and he gives you like a amulet of that increases your merchant skill and whatnot. And then he says, "I'm done with the drug trade. I learned my lesson. I think I'm going to stay in Morrowind for a while, and in fact, maybe get into the slave trade. Something new, something fresh." So. It was a funny story. It had it was like actually comedic.
Right.
It was deep backstory, and it was such a fun thing to write.
Yeah.
And after coming back from the Belize archaeology trip, only then was I like, I guess you guys could put it online, and I put it online, and then people liked it, and people responded to it, and somebody did a video on it, and then it made it into the top 10 of the year.
368 views, 6 likes, one of which is mine.
But no one really watches the trailer. But like in terms of downloads, this is the I believe it right now it's the 7th most downloaded quest mod for Morrowind.
Yeah, that's really cool for your first mod.
That's my first mod.
Yeah, first mod
for
ever.
Morrowind.
First game, first
crazy.
anything to do with game ever. But yeah here. Look at this trailer. What's this about? It's so bad. Ow. The music's badass, so. Look how laggy it is too, like in the trailer.
I know, that's interesting. It's so funny how you improve.
I know. God
the
damn
text,
it.
I love that.
Wait, look, hold on.
This should be interesting.
So bad.
I'm in that video.
You're in that video. Yeah, hold on. Top 10 Morrowind mods of 2014.
Yeah,
you are
man.
in this. Yeah.
82,000 views, and that would be that. See? Merchant Fendis is in that. Yeah. So I took a project management, business management class. Swine's really hitting me. Business management, and the teacher had this assignment where you're supposed to go to a company using people who you know in the class and interview a manager and do your report and come back. And then it just so happened, being California and everything, that the niece of the CEO of Obsidian was in that class. So the CEO of Obsidian, Fallout New Vegas, all that.
Yeah.
I had that. And then it also happened that my friend Josh, who I mentioned earlier, he had some relation that we didn't even know about to knowing, or someone he knows, a family member being involved or knowing the director at Activision. So on a Wednesday, I was in the headquarters of Activision. The director of Call of Duty games, myself, Josh,
Infinity
one other
Ward
person.
department, right?
Infinity Ward, yeah, in California, Woodland Hills. And then that was Wednesday, and then 2 days later on Friday, I was sitting across the table from Fergus Urquhart in the headquarters of Obsidian.
Who's CEO of Obsidian?
CEO of Obsidian.
Yeah,
Who's on Wikipedia and everything.
Insane.
So it was like,
what kind of week is that?
Yeah,
like,
it's very
how does that
interesting
just fall in your lap?
Right?
Like, that's just such like, I don't know. Maybe things are meant to be. Seriously.
Maybe.
Like, it's
I don't
crazy.
know. It's very
so
interesting.
Crazy.
And so what it did is it humified. It humanified what it means to make game development, to make video games. Like do people make them? Like how do they make it? Like, oh, okay, there's a place so it happens in, and these places were really cool to begin and stuff.
Right.
But there's people who do it. So if they're just people, maybe I can be one of those people.
Right.
And so that kind of planted a seed. But
as you planted your seed in the ground, I will plant my seed in you.
So. Man, what did I do next? Oh, then I worked on a mod for a year and a half. So then I spent like a year driving Uber,
on and off.
living at home, making a mod for a game that came out in 2002. Like a crazy person called The Lamp.
This is the weird one. I mean, they're both such good mods. Like, yeah, I should point out the Merchant Fendus is a great mod. Like, I love it. I think like you fit. I think that's why you and I are so good at talking art. Like when we talk about art, we literally like 90% of the time are always like, yeah, fuck that movie. If it sucks,
know,
so we get so mad.
Yeah, I know.
But like 10% of the time,
horrible.
maybe we're like, I thought it was good, and you're like, no, it was shit or something. Like very rarely do we disagree. So that's why I'm always like, when stuff sucks, I get so mad because if it was like, man, if I directed it, it would have been good because I'm egotistical like you. But then I also go, Connor could have directed that shit and it would have been good. Like I'm always
No,
thinking
yeah,
that,
you hear me saying that all the time. Like, yeah, no, if
Yeah.
I had Star Wars, I would have done a better job than them.
But
And
it's
like
true.
it's
It's true.
arrogant.
No, it's arrogant, but it's true. Like I know for a fact you would have.
Or at least even if I had failed miserably, it would have been failure in execution, but not failure in developing the proper meaning behind something.
Right.
Because I think that's if I studied anything, I think in terms of art, art is the study of meaning, and the best art has meaning in several different levels. It's like layered, like a cake.
And usually that's the thing. Art is so good that it accidentally gives you more meaning. Like things aren't even intentional. Like that's why we watch Better Call Saul.
Yeah,
We watch that show and then we go like that,
yeah. And what's
that
interesting
scene
too,
represented so many things that I don't even think the writers thought it represented the two other things we just thought of.
it's really interesting.
It's crazy.
when you advance confidently in your own direction, or as an artist, make brave choices based on your own instincts. The universe is a funny way of collaborating with you. And so if you meet the universe 100%, maximum capacity, it brings another 100%. And then you have something that transcends what could be possible.
Right.
And so you could go, okay, and so many examples of that ending of Barton Fink. It's like Seagull.
Don't spoil anything.
No, I won't, but
It's too good.
I
yeah.
won't, but the very last shot,
Yeah, right.
Seagull comes and plunges into the ocean. It's like that
Right.
shot was just accidental. And it's like,
Yeah, right? It's
there's
crazy.
but it's not accidental. It's like when the universe has a very weird way of collaborating with you when you apply yourself genuinely towards making something meaningful.
Right.
So, and I've had that a lot in the games and stuff. And oh my gosh, I mean,
Right.
like with the Egypt game and everything, and all
Right.
the coincidences that have happened with that, people I've met,
Yeah.
or like this, like I had made a mod. I was
Go get
interested.
to the second one.
So
for
then the
more
universe hands me the CEO of Obsidian and the director at Infinity Ward in a 3-day period. Like
Right.
that's interesting. So maybe it's manifesting, maybe it's something it's meant to be, maybe it's random. I don't know, but it sure feels like it's there's something going on there. But you still have to make your way. So I knew I wasn't ready to be hired at like an Obsidian or something. So I wanted to make this great mod that was be way better than the Merchant Fendus, way better than any other Quest mod ever made. And it's called The Lamp. And actually, you gave me the initial idea.
Uh-huh.
Credit where credit is due.
Uncredited source right
Because
here.
you were like talking
That idea
about...
was stolen.
Yeah. You were saying, hey, what if we did... we were talking about, like, what about a story where it was like a genie in a lamp, but set in Morrowind? And you get 3 wishes and stuff.
truly.
And it goes like... And these wishes take you to different crazy lands and
Right.
realms and things. And that was basically the idea that where that you provided, I believe. And,
Yeah,
and
that
we were
was-
talking about it would be a Daedric Prince. and all that.
I made up some of the levels, or one of them at least, because you did the library one, and then you did the power one. I think I came up with the initial idea that you should be some sort of ruler, but then
Yeah.
you started reading all the in-lore
Yeah,
that
yeah, I
you
think
fell in
so.
love with, and then
Yeah.
detailed it. But
Yeah.
that was like, because I came up with like 9 different scenarios.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we
You get 3 wishes, but you could like 3, but that's way too difficult.
Yeah, and we had notes. I had notes on this for like a year before I even started.
Yeah.
I called it pre-production. So yeah, you're right. I've been working on games longer than it feels like because of things like this.
Yeah, right.
It just wasn't full time, but I had notes, on these pages. And what I ended up doing is I took your story and I wrote a parallel narrative with it, which is like, again, I've never done that before, but like the best way to start is to do it, just to do it before you're ready.
Well, I like when you take my ideas, because that just means that, well, it makes me feel good. Like I do have some sort of a creative source, but at the same
been a
time,
year on
if
your
I'm not
idea.
if I'm not going to use it, I'd rather have you use it
Yeah.
than some
Well,
other asshole.
Well, an
Because you make it good.
idea means nothing unless it's
Right.
executed.
Right.
Everybody's like, "Oh, my idea is so important." It's like your idea is not important. It doesn't mean anything. I can come up with 10 original games right now on the spot if you want me to. We should do that in this podcast. I can do it. Because I practice that every day.
Easy, free.
I do.
go back.
I do. I realize that creativity is a skill, and if you exercise it, you become amazing
Right.
at it. And if you don't, then you assume that only talented people have it.
Like I came up with the Scrub Daddy, and then some other asshole stole the idea. But
Yeah.
I thought of it 1st.
Mhm.
And that's an example of how if I executed it, I would have had like $800,000 because Shark Tank took a shitload of the money.
Yeah.
So
Look at that.
there you go.
Yeah. But you didn't execute the idea.
I didn't execute it, so now I don't
That's why
have
it matters.
$800,000, and that's why
So-
I'm here now.
So anyway, I took your idea and I said, what if we write this parallel narrative where we make this story about a slave? And I don't know what I was doing. Maybe this is like, I don't know if I was consciously thinking this, but like, okay, having a genie in a lamp
Such a good
thing
story.
gives you a genie in a lamp gives you the ultimate freedom, right? And interesting to contrast that in terms of meaning with the slavery in the world of Morrowind, the people who don't have freedom. And also I had to explain, how did this Daedric artifact that no one's really heard of end up where it ended up? So the story goes something like this. In Morrowind, there's this city, it's in the game, called Nissus. I like Nissus because it kind of looks like the word genie too. But I went,
Didn't think of that.
but I went there but I liked it because it's like half imperial, half normal culture there. And I thought, okay, what if there's like this antique shop? And I said, okay, we call it the Locked Box. It's the name of it. And it's a shop of oddities and antiques and things like that. And if you go to it, you can buy this lamp. And this guy, actually, he asks you to repair it or whatever. I forget. I think there's like a book or something you have to buy on the repair, or something like that, the reparation.
Yeah,
or he's currently repairing it, and will you go get this thing? And it came in the shop the other day. That's all you know. Also, though, around Nissus, appears all of these signs and everything about this escaped slave who there's a humongous bounty on. And you could talk to different people in the village and ask about them, and they say, yeah, we heard he escaped from Dren Plantation, which is down south, and he made it up here in 3 days, and he's somewhere, we believe he's in the area, but the whole Dren Plantation, or these slave owners, is a super powerful political family in Morrowind, and they have all these plantations and these slaves that are slaves in Morrowind are these lizard people or these
like cat
tiger people, yeah. And
You only says tiger because it sounds cooler.
Well, okay, yeah.
Everyone says cats.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So, so like this slave, we believe, had something to do with the death or kidnapping, or hoping, of one of the Dren royal family members. You can kind of call it royalty, which is Vorus Dren. So Vorus Dren is the son of Orvis Dren, I believe, it's son or nephew, and Vorus Dren was a slave owner and all this stuff.
Well, yeah, like in the game, that Dren family, they have a ton of political power. Remember, they're like the mafia in Morrowind.
Yeah.
They're
So I'm sewing
they're
this.
they basically run Morrowind, like a lot of parts of it.
And so
That's
this
the idea.
this story,
It's all criminal organization.
it's criminal organization, exactly, and it sews into the existing lore that's already there.
Right.
Dren Plantation is a place you can go to, all that stuff. So Vorus Dren, the Dren family, has gone missing, and they believe he was kidnapped by abolitionists because no slave has ever escaped Dren Plantation. They got it really tight, and the day that this slave escapes is the day that Vorus Dren escapes. And then there's other evidence along the way that the abolition was it was involved or planning something. It disappears. No one knows where Vorus Dren is. And so they're trying to hunt down the slave like nothing else. Otherwise, who cares? Just another slave. But this one might have information on where Vorus is.
Might have an important family member with information.
Anyway, that's backstory. It doesn't matter. You're just getting a lamp. So you go, you get this thing, you come back to Lockbox. The guy said he was repairing. You go there, he's gone.
Right.
But the lamp is there and it's repaired. You go up to the lamp, and if you click on the lamp, so you select it or whatever, immediately, like sound effect, everything, particle effect, whatever, it goes dark in the room, and you see a rat on a cushion float through the wall and descend onto the floor.
It's been known to happen.
And then walk toward the end of the hallway and make a portal appear. That's a Daedric portal, and a wall open up.
Yeah,
vertically.
That's what's cool. I think for people who know Morrowind, to understand the complexity and just the Like that alone, that whole scene of like the rat coming in on the carpet and then it walking to the thing and then like the doors opening up and then just like the effects. Like Morrowind's not that type of game.
Yeah.
It has effects and but there's a few scenes in the game, mostly even in the expansion packs, I would say, where they go a little crazier toward the like Oblivion route of effects when they were working on Oblivion. You can very much see that in Tribunal. But like, so that's like kind of cool. Like, holy shit! Like, there's like all this stuff. You remember, it's a game where people stand still and you read text boxes and you move around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So that's the game. And so when all this is happening, it's just very cool to see. And it's like, holy shit! Like, this is kind of impressive.
So
and people felt the same way, obviously, because of the reviews were very good. So
the wall opens up and you go up and you talk to this Weaver guy. Oh, and there's like this great Daedric cavern on the other thing. Oh yeah, so there's this rat and his name's Weaver, and you click on him and he's like, "Hey, how you doing?" He talks to you, right? And he's basically like, "Go beyond the door," like she's expecting you. It's like, what the hell? So you walk into this cave thing that had appeared there, and then immediately, and talk about effects, right? It's you see this, there's like this portal thing around it, and a thunder lightning effect appears, and this platform rises, and then another lightning, and the lightning hits again, boom, this large humanoid figure appears, and it's the Daedric god Mephala, and she says that you found her lamp and that she will grant you 3 wishes of anything you would like. So you can then choose the wishes that you want, and there's some lore and stuff there, but you can ask for, I don't know if she has 3 wishes, but well, whatever.
Yeah, 3.
So she says, so you have the option of asking for power, or like enormous power or whatever.
It's like power, knowledge,
or knowledge, and then I don't know if there's a third one. Because of the way the story goes. Yeah. So basically, you end up getting to do both at some point, but you could choose whichever one you want. We'll start with power. So if you do power, she I think the effect is like she grants it. You fall through this through the floor, and then you appear, and you appear in the Imperial City of Oblivion.
I lost my shit over that. I was like,
and you can see the Imperial Tower. And it's in Morrowind, and it's nighttime, and it's a thunderstorm, and you're walking the top rafters of all the castle walls toward the Imperial Palace, and you walk through and everything, and you go through the gates, and you go through the door, and then you go into this enormous, beautiful chamber hall where there's all kinds of people, and there's a gathering, and everybody's referring to you as Emperor. You've been made Emperor of the world, of the Empire. But it's interesting because everybody's like, yeah, we've just, the war with Morrowind, whatever, has just been won or just been conquered. And it's like, what? What's that? And then you start to pick up that this is not the time period that the game normally takes place in. So what I did is I had taken the books, in-game book series called 2920, which is, I found in my research for it because I was like, if I'm going to make you become an emperor, it has to be an emperor in the lore. So then I found, okay, what are emperors in the lore that'd be perfect for this? Because here's the other thing, and the catch on this was, the wishes, of course, have to go awry. It can't be just, you get the wish. There has to be a twist to it, like the genie story classically is. Like, you wished for power? Well, it's the last thing you really want. Yeah. So what I looked up, I found, okay, what are the emperors that were assassinated? And I found, okay, this is going to be the emperor on the night. It's Uriel. No, not Uriel.
Remen Cyrodiil
the first and last essential of the last emperor of the first era, because with his death inaugurated the second era. This is like 3,000 years before the game takes place, and this is the night of his assassination. Congratulations, you were the most powerful person in the world.
And I should have gone the Ty Lopez route.
So you sort of discover this at this party and stuff. If you've read 2920, I put all of the details I possibly could from people's names. Guy comes up to you named Gaius. He's in the book 2920. By the way, 2920 is one of the best pieces of literature I've ever read in my life. I cannot believe that's in a video game. It's so ridiculous.
It's not even like in the video game. It's a fake book in the video game that has nothing to do with the video game you're playing.
Yeah, because Morrowind has
it's just crazy.
Hundreds of books, both historical and of fictional nature, written from within the world by in-world authors. Yeah. And this is the one about the fall of the First Empire. And so this is the night of the assassination, and so all the conspirators there and everything. And as you proceed to find it out, you're able to find Weaver. Weaver is over by the throne room and everything, and throne. Weaver's the rat, right? And he's on his cushion, and he's not very helpful until you try and like figure it out. And what happens is you go through the basic things, and I think because it's been so long. Well, I mean it's been like 3 years. But the conspiracy, they go to kill you, whatever, and you can get the lamp. You can grab the lamp or whatever in the last second, and then you get out of there. And then you're back at the locked box. You're back with Mafala. She's like, hey, how'd it go? You know, she doesn't say it like that, but you're able to ask for another wish. So you ask for knowledge.
All right, hold on, Mr. Ty Lopez. We're going to take a break real quick there.
Okay.
And then we'll get into knowledge. And then we'll talk, after the knowledge, we'll get more into you personally in the game, more of the real projects you're working on now that you have an income streak with, you know. So anyway, stay tuned. We will be back. This part of the game is bullshit.
People said this part's way too hard.
Way too difficult.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know Elon Musk levels of IQs can pass it. It's so tough.
Because there's like there's like a room with like a gear puzzle and these gears that turn and you lock them into place and they rise and fall.
Didn't one guy in the review like ask for help and like never got it? So he just never
got it like 6 months later. I know. So and then
my computer broke. Can't play it anymore.
But I love it because Weaver, your traveling companion, is there the whole. You know, he was always there on his cushion, whatever, and he's there, but he's just hanging out and he has a book in front of him. And he's like, all right, you know, go enjoy. I'm going to get back to my story. And if you read, you can actually read the book. And I wrote it. It's called Jatter the Rat Warrior, Part 5. And if you read it, it's like a comic book for rats about a rat warrior. And apparently it implies that there's many others.
Water.
No, I'm good. Thank you, though. It looks good. Honestly, probably if you read that Jatter that Warrior, that's probably my greatest work of all time. It's the greatest work of fiction.
It's actually very funny.
It's
very funny, but it's good.
So I put so much time and effort into writing a little book that would be in front of your rat NPC as a joke.
No, I know, but that's... Again, it's like the dumb little details. Like, that's what I like about the type of artist like you. Like, you're modding for a game with, like, no income streak at all. Like, willing to put all this coding effort, all this artistic vision into a game that not that many people play anymore. I mean, still big game. I mean, for how old it is, the amount of people that play it still is remarkable. The modding community is amazing for that game. It's so big still. Mm-hmm. But, in general, and then, like, just doing exactly what the geniuses at Bethesda really do. They write those weird stories within their stories. Is it fiction? Yeah. Is the Rat Warrior actually him? There's all these questions you can kind of take out. And it sounds like, it's just some mod that maybe 800 actual human beings will ever see in their whole life. But it's just like, wow, like those 800 human beings really saw something cool in that. And it was an experience that I would feel like exists in that game.
Wow. Well said. Yeah.
It really is.
Then there's this whole thing where there's like invisible walls. There's this helmet of like unseeing and stuff. Oh, Blake's calling me.
You can answer it.
So no, that's fine. Oh yeah. Oh, I should have actually. Oh, whatever. So that's okay. I'll call him back. Like you said, we gotta have him on the podcast. There's all these like series of like walls you can turn off and on because you put on this mask and it gets dark, but then these ghosts appear and you go through this maze and stuff.
I mean, it's impressive.
Yeah.
It's just really hard. I think it
took forever to design too. By the way, where was
I
designing this? I was driving to like Starbucks when I wasn't driving Uber, and I'd sit there for 2 hours with a laptop that I had bought with a savings bond that showed up magically when I needed it, so I could afford this laptop, and then I'd be just dedicating my time again to a game from 2003. So this just took so much time. But anyway, once you get through it, you go back to the library originally. You come through this other way, but you come through like this bedroom, and I think what happens is there's these candles, and if you turn on the mask, you can see the candles on the different shelves.
I'm not even gonna be able to process.
If you turn off the mask,
you
can't, and you go and light all the candles. And what that does is that opens a set of stairways. But the set of stairways, it's a stairway going down to a cavern with a bunch of clanfears in it and crystals, and literally there's no end. I mean, it ends there. There's no way out of that. What you have to do is you have to go down a little bit, take off the mask, because then at the part where the stairway is about to turn into another stairway, it flips up, and it's the up version of a stairway appears when you take off the mask. So when the mask is on, because you had it on to get there to begin with, you go down and people get stuck at that part. But you take it off, and it goes up. And then you have this other flip stairway. You go up into this room where now you have to answer a riddle. And really it requires absolute knowledge to finish this part.
This part is fine. This part's cool because this is mimicking, what's the movie?
Well, apparently
Labyrinth?
It's Pan's Labyrinth.
Pan's Labyrinth.
I've never seen it, though. I just knew this was a riddle.
But this riddle's very famous, too.
So, yes. And so there's
I don't know if it even
there's
originates
two
from this
doors.
movie. Yeah.
Two doors.
That's like the heaven and hell riddle, right?
Yes, yeah, exactly.
It's just a hard riddle.
So
it is a
you're
hard
in a room
riddle.
with two doors. Oh, by the way, as you get into the room, Jadder comes back and he's writing on his carpet and he just kind of levitates there.
The amount of ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. And you and Jadder are like friends now at this point, basically. He's just along for the ride. He's Mephal's servant, is the idea.
Which again, that's a very Bethesda idea. Again, it's sort of like a Barabbas with Clavicus Vile and Oblivion.
Totally. Yeah.
You know, the dog.
Yeah.
He's actually your ally.
Yeah.
And he doesn't like his master. It's like the same sort of thing. Like,
yeah, although Jadder's fine with the master, I think.
But he does aid you throughout the thing, right? Can't you like kind of talk to him?
Oh yeah, you totally talk to him. He helps you. He gives you clues and stuff on what to do and stuff. Yeah, he's not out to get you like Mephal's horrible designs are. Anyway, what happens is, and you're kind of getting the idea that the lamp just causes havoc on all who use it. It's just a horrible thing. It's the worst thing that can happen to you is you find this lamp and use it. Okay, and that's classic Mephala. She's the web spinner. She's trapping you. Anyway, so this is the last part of the library, the gift of knowledge that you asked for. To get out of it, there's two Dremoras on either side of a door. They each have their own door.
Like monsters.
Monsters, yeah. They'll tell you, one of us always tells the truth, one of us always lies. And so they tell you that, and they said you can ask us any questions. But only one door will lead out of here, and the other door will lead to a little section that was going to be way bigger. That this was one of those things where it's like the deleted scenes that got cut. Oh my gosh! So I designed this level called the Nightlands, which was my own version of Mephal's Oblivion, which is a swampy land and permanent night with swamp shacks occasionally and some people living there. It ended up being that you will get banished to the Nightlands, but you get banished to just one particular shack. You can't leave it. And you can never go back. Like, you have to load a game to get out of there. So if you go through the wrong door, you have to load a game. And what's cool is there's a guy in there and you can talk to him. And he's kind of like, who's this guy that's permanently damned there? Anyway, if you put the mask on, I don't know if anyone's done this. If you put the mask on,
this shit. Yeah,
the one that makes you seeing, because you have it at this point, the Helm of Unseeing or whatever, he turns into this deformed Daedrith monster and attacks you and kills you. So that shows, because the mask shows the true forms of things or whatever. So
that was crazy.
Yeah,
that's like, again, that's something you don't even have to do that shit. Like,
no,
you get the
riddle
right? Yeah, I was just like, what?
You should have seen. I had a whole level with the Nightlands on it, with bridges going from swamp to swampy creek.
Yeah, I saw some of the designs when you showed me.
Maybe
it was crazy.
Lanterns and fireflies and possibly like just crazy stuff. But anyway, that got cut. So you don't want to go there because then you're stuck. You don't go to the right door. If you ask and I forgot how the riddle goes, but the riddle's something like, one of us always tells the truth, one of us always lies, and you can ask them, okay, which door are you guarding? Which one is this? Whatever. And I think I only let you ask one question because there's one question you can ask that you can actually figure it out, like logically, which is the correct door. Doesn't mean the liar, because the lying is bad, has the bad door. It doesn't mean that. It just means that you have to figure out which one is telling the truth and which one. Anyway, if you solve that, you can leave and you're back at the lockbox. And at that point, it's like, hey, peace out. I need to leave with this lamp or whatever, like this lamp situation. And I think you leave the locked box. Now you're back in Nissus. there might be some impetus as to why you have to leave or whatever, or why your character's going to decide to leave and not just end the quest there. But here's where that parallel narrative comes in. Remember the slave, Dren plantation, Voris Dren, abolitionist warfare, trying to free the slaves, kidnapped perhaps because of the slave went missing. This is when that story kicks in, and it's all related to the lamp. So, you have to find the origins of the lamp, and you go and you find the woman who bought it from the guy to begin with, and she's like, "Oh yeah, oh no, you know what happens? Okay, you go back in Nissus, and now there are." I'm sorry, I forget because it's been so long. When you came to Nissus, not only were there signs everywhere, they were slave hunters. That was a great thing. I had this guy, very great character. What was his name? It was a good name. It was him and 2 orcs, and he is the most vicious, brutal slave hunter.
It's like the Ramsay Snow.
Around. Exactly.
Is that who you based him off of?
No, I wasn't watching Game of Thrones yet.
Oh, really?
I don't think so. Maybe. No, but I didn't base him.
that is
either way,
who it is. It's the Ramsay Snow of
scary guy,
Yeah.
scary for slaves. And
Yeah.
he is like an incredible track record, and he believes the slave is somewhere in Nissus, and that's why or near Nissus, and that's why he's come all the way up from that. And he's working on behalf of the Drens. Forgot about that. So there's a presence of like Dren hired help, including this. And remember, slavery is legal in Morrowind. It's not like this is underground stuff. It's legal. It's just scuzzy. So anyway, this guy, what happens is if you go up to him, he will give you a job, which is he asks you to deliver a message to a guy in a little swampy port town up north who's another guard, because they basically have people stationed out all in the northeast of Morrowind looking for this escaped slave. And so yeah, this guy's a big character. I can't believe I didn't mention him. So now you're working for him.
There's like notes on the plantation from him about the slave, like very aggressive notes, and then they have like you put they
chop the slave in half, in pieces.
Slave, and then they crucify
with
him.
a crucified slave with a note. This is what happens to escape slaves.
You know what happens.
So
happens in Morrowind.
So you go to the guy, you deliver a note, whatever. You come back, the guy pays you or something, and he asks you to. I'm not even an expert on my own mountain, man. At some point, I think the lady who took the lamp or something, you can persuade her to telling you where the person you met was going and the direction he's heading. If you head that direction, you'll find a shack in the middle of nowhere with an old woman inside, and the old woman is an abolitionist harboring slaves, and she asks you to, I believe, do something. And anyway, then you make your way down to Dren Plantation. Actually, you go there, and then you talk to some of the Dren people, and you see like everything is like everybody has something to say about the escaped slave, especially about Voris Dren, again, who's missing. This guy is like, again, he's nephew or son, I think he's nephew to Orvis Dren, like the biggest plantation owner in the entire continent, and his nephew is missing, and they believe kidnapped by abolitionists, but they haven't heard word. All they know is that the night that he disappeared was the night that the slave disappeared, and no slave ever disappears from Dren Plantation without being caught. So this takes you where you start working for the abolitionists, and you go to that woman's shack and everything, and finally she gives you the key to the well in the backyard. If you go to the backyard, you can go into the well. It leads down to this underground portion where they're harboring slaves. It's the abolitionist movement. And if you go in there, they have a very important person. It's, of course, our escaped slave. And you speak to our escaped slave. And I believe at first he's a little bit shy or whatever. Or he's not shy, but he's reluctant to divulge details. But he knows that people are on the hunt for Voris Dren and everything. And you end up finding out, and I'm going to ruin the twist because who's going to get to the end of this mod anyway? It's a story. I should just write a short story version of it and put that out there, really. But Voris Dren, prior to this, had bought a shipment of rare artifacts, and in that shipment, Voris Dren received a lamp. And the escaped slave is Voris Dren.
There you go.
That's what happened. So this is him,
Shock
and
moment.
he's like a lizard person now. He's been completely transformed into like he doesn't look like he used to look. He doesn't look like a Dunmer dark elf guy like he's supposed to be. There's no going back. He's like, the lamp ruined my life, and I dropped it here. I sold it here, trying to get rid of it. It's still, and now I can't even leave my own country. And it's like, I just need to escape Morrowind. Will you help me? And so then that's when you proceed to go into helping him and helping him escape and everything. And you do. And then you defeat the bad guys, the slave hunters. And it's great because there's all this tonality about like what it means to be free, what it means to not be free. You have like people who are subject in slavery, and it's the worst thing ever. But then you have people who are eternal slaves and servants like Weaver, right, to Mephala, who actually like it. And like then you have the grandiosity of having complete freedom when you have these wishes. So the whole thing is full of metaphor and meaning on what it means to be free. So anyway, long story short, you finish the quest. The old owner of the lockbox comes back. He has no memory about where he went, what happened. And Mephala gives you the slave escapes. You defeat the bad slave guy. Mephala leaves, and you're all good, and you receive a reward, which is, of course, Weaver. Weaver is now a companion, and I made it so that he has all kinds of custom dialogue based on where you go in the game, including on what day of the week it is, and including what half of the month it is. So what I did is I had a whole bunch of block of dialogue that can play that like you click on it, click on him, he'll say something random about whatever, and he has jokes to tell, and he has some secret. I think he has a location that you can go to. Maybe I don't know if I end up getting into it. That leads to something. Oh, he has some dialogue that actually hints that he's actually a Daedric Lord, which I love.
There you
go. His dialogue. The dialogue blocks are divided between the first 15 days of the month and the last 15 days of the month. So just as you're playing and you get sick of you feel like you've heard everything, it's all brand new again. He also has things like there's, for example, in Aldrun, the city of Aldrun, there's where the Thieves Guild is. What's the building called again?
The Rat in the Pot.
The Rat in the Pot. If you go in the Rat in the Pot, only in there. If you go with Weaver, he goes, I don't like this place. He's like, can we leave? So I did all that. So he could be a very valuable companion and just fun. And so that's the reward.
Like
so few people get because so few people finish the mod.
Carry weight, right? Same thing, like that one, like the carry weight.
Yeah, I think
like
you can carry stuff.
Oh,
and then I think you can find Jadder the Rat part 1 through 4 or whatever. And you can give them, if you find them throughout the world, and put them in different locations throughout Morrowind, and you give them to him. It unlocks more dialogue, and I think he either increases in something or whatever. But he's really happy about it.
Sweet.
That's so great.
This is such a
That's the lamp. Let's play the trailer for the lamp.
Let's do it.
I want to watch it. It's been forever.
No, yeah, but that's like the thing about like Morrowind, just like the in-depth of this mod. Like, and you got on the top 10 list of 2016 on that one. Oh, frickin' A.
Yeah, I was so proud of this, and the only thing that is not a lot of people finish it. I really don't think. I don't even think the Dark Elf guy who reviewed it actually finished it. It's just I made it too hard.
Yeah, I'll definitely agree with you on that. Yeah, Numic, here it is.
Stranger, listen. I have a message I must tell you.
The voice acting.
Protector, you will ask me, I shall hear.
Where is that slave?
It has no master.
Master?
I can help you tap your unlocked potential, Outlander.
Talk to the boss.
Bad guy.
What
Bad guy
do you
right
seek
there.
in Nissus, Outlander?
Be warned.
Did you notice right before the bad guy? Let's go back there.
Yeah. There's a lot of things in this trailer.
Actually,
All as Miss Jadder is a Reaver. Are you? I was like, there's
Hold
7
on.
letters here, and there's 7 notes. So I want to sync up each letter with each note. That's the detail
Look at
I
that.
went into. And then their guy, there he
love
is.
it.
That's
So
Vorstren
good.
at the end, right at the end there. Oh, so cool.
Hold on, I'm gonna replay it one more
I
time.
really like this.
I'm gonna play it one more time. Yeah, like this is this is the masterpiece of a trailer. They're both great mods. This mod is so much better though than the first one. This trailer is definitely better than the first trailer,
Yeah.
but yeah, the first trailer is awful. But this is great. Like
Yeah.
this is like
You can see my skills improving.
good trailers are so important to good art.
The trailer is an art itself. I love everything they say has meaning. So I was not doing professional game design until after this was finished. And I
But
guess
look at the views. Hold on. I'm going to interrupt you. 4,000 views, 72 likes, 1 dislike, probably from like some dipshit that likes Halo 5 Guardians. I guarantee you it's not from someone smart. So, Rebel, yeah, this guy, he's got good content on Elder Scrolls. Like, he's actually a pretty famous Elder Scrolls guy. So you had a lot of comments. More modding showcases, of course. He's awesome. Just all these people, great job. All these people are asking, which I have to ask you about, is like the voice acting, because like if you hear like it all fits so well in the trailer. But people said, people were saying, so how did you get the voice actor?
I scoured all the data files in the Morrowind folder, all the voice files that are used throughout the game. Found ones that could possibly be relevant.
But see, that's the thing. That's how you know you do a good trailer, because there were people literally saying like,
How did you get the original voice
actors? Like they thought that, and it's like, no, I took audio from the game files, but it fit the story so well, and that's the thing. And I don't think, again, probably nobody looked back on the trailer with the amount of hints to the story.
If you
to
watch
the
the trailer,
itself, you could tell who's who.
Yeah, everyone
dialogue,
is
all the
each
characters.
voice is coming from one of those characters that I described.
Yeah.
It has no master.
Yeah,
That's
be
one of
warned,
them.
I do not
That's
tolerate
Forest
fools.
Wren. I do. Yeah, exactly.
Which,
It's
I mean, these are
Mafala.
common phrases in the
What
game.
do you seek in Nissus?
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
I will give you what you want. It's great.
All right, well, we didn't know we were going to read NC-17 mod, but I will give you what
That's
you
the
want.
Bill Cosby edition.
Bill
A lot of Bill Cosby
edition.
mentions today. So anyway, so I came up with that, and then I realized, okay, now I think I might want to work at Bethesda Game Studios. So how do I do that? Well, I know the CEO of Obsidian.
Well, I'm going to fast forward it. Connor wrote his first game, Fallout 76. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, exactly. So I emailed the
You got the
Obsidian
job.
guy, and I was like, I would like a job. I want to be interviewed. What positions do you have? And he said, well, we actually have an area design position. I remember I was at a gas station talking to Josh when I got that email.
Or
I
you
was
usually
freaked
talk
out.
to him at gas stations. That's good.
Well, I just I remember the place. That's when this stuff meant so much to me, like that. And he's like, so they said, hey, will you please forward Connor a game design test? And they give you a week to do it. And I did it for their Pillars of Eternity game. And
Which is like so huge. That game's so huge. So
yeah.
I feel honored that you got to do that even. I mean, that's
totally,
such a big game.
Totally.
I mean, oh my God. Everyone I talk to, I mean, even Evan's like, he worships that game. Like
they were working on their sequel
yeah.
at the time, and that's why the design test was for that.
Right.
Their unannounced sequel. And so the design test, the first half of it is like questions.
Did you know that? Did they tell you that? Unannounced sequel? Did they tell you it was for?
No, but it's you're not supposed to share it with anybody.
Like,
Remember, I did
yeah.
some writing in there that was really good, like the story, the little book. So anyway, you write things for Pillars of Eternity, and I took a week to do this. You have a week to do it, and I worked day and night. I got up early in the morning to the end of the night, and I was working. I was determined to make the best design test they'd ever seen, and I think I may have done something like that. Specifically because I have to make up for lack of experience. I've never worked at a game company. Well, game companies only hire people who've worked at game companies, so it's like catch-22. But I'm like, if I can show them that I am phenomenal and I will make phenomenal work, that'll be valuable to everything that they do, and it will improve my presence there, then I'm going to do everything I can. And so I turned in the design test. I'm still very proud of that design test. And I think it says a lot. It's a good overview of kind of my approach to this whole game thing, art and all that. Anyway, so then, a couple weeks went by. Hey, what's up? Any news? Yeah, it passed our first round of testing. I'm like, good. Of course it did. Hey, what's up? A few weeks later. Nothing heard back yet, but you're still in the running. All right, cool. It wasn't until like 2 months later. I was in California at the time. Hey, any news on the game design test? Hi, Connor. Sorry, but it turns out you didn't get the position. I remember it being like, oh, because that's the thing. But Obsidian did Fallout New Vegas for Bethesda, a direct relationship with Bethesda. Working on the Elder Scrolls, that seemed to me to be That seemed to be a life worth living, right? All my other ambitions and what all the other pursuits could be satiated. I believe I worked at Bethesda on the Elder Scrolls series. I thought I was going to do that through Obsidian.
Right.
And now that the door was closed, it was like, well, what do I do? Because learning game design is freaking impossible. I shouldn't say design, game development. Going to schools, as you know, is completely the wrong move because none of them teach you anything, which is why the last 2 years I've been correcting all the schools I can in Vegas, going and visiting and doing it. Anyone who will hear me, hey guys, let's sit down. Let me show you exactly how to make a game.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But you can't go to the schools.
Yeah.
They're all bad.
Yeah, they're really bad.
Universally across the board. I've never encountered one that was doing anything remotely accurate and that would put anybody in a position where they could make a game. So going to game school wasn't an option. How am I going to do this? I'd already downloaded Unity like 3 times this time and tried and failed. Which Unity is the one that everybody says is the easy one or the easy one to get started with and stuff. And said maybe then later you're going to advance to other ones, Unreal and things like that. So I'll download this Unreal Engine thing and I'll try it. I'll probably fail at it and whatever. And it ended up just really sitting with me. And it wasn't as complicated as people made it out to be. And I was able to spend a lot of hours in it. I started developing in it and making projects in it and teaching myself and reading and studying and watching live streams. And I was like amazed that, because now I had all this experience with the Bethesda engine. The Bethesda editor, I was like a pro at. Construction set. For Morrowind, I'm like, I knew it. So I had that experience. But now going to Unreal is like starting from the beginning. And I just excelled and kept working at it. And at some point, I was good enough where I realized, oh my gosh, if I have an idea, I can really make the game out of that idea, whatever game I want, which is an ability I didn't have before. It's like a superpower. Oh, you want to make a game? Boom, I can do that. And once you get to that skill level, it was like, okay, I see the path forward now. So I started my company, Dotware Games, just by filing the LLC. And I had also jumped onto the figuring out, okay, what's the game scene here in Las Vegas? Who's who? Where are the meetups? Going to the Unity meetup, going to these other software meetups. Ended up being a regular, ended up taking over a few of them, working on my public speaking, being that game guy, being known for that. People wanted to make a game jam, but nobody would really do it and organize it. So I said, okay, hell, this is not going to happen unless I do it. So I made the Las Vegas Summer Game Jam. The first, I think, but definitely the largest game jam in Las Vegas ever. So I broke a lot of the rules of a game jam with that. It's shorter than most game jams. It's literally Saturday, 10 a.m., 10 p.m., and Sunday, 10 a.m. to like 5 p.m., and then we have the voting, and then everybody. By the way, game jam is where people have to make a video game from scratch in a weekend.
Yeah.
And then I also broke the rule and said, well, I don't want just me and the same 8 other people who go to the meetups showing up at this place. Why don't I make it an education event? I'll have workshops being taught by pro people, including myself. I'll teach an Unreal one. I'll get someone to teach a Unity one. I'll get someone to teach a game marketing one who does that and who succeeded at that. Animation, sure. Modeling, sure. I have all these workshops going on throughout all of it. And it was great because it like doubled our audience because a lot of people, this game stuff's too hard. But then they can go to that free event, take the workshops, and get set up for success and learn animation.
Yeah, and
modeling,
that to me is so smart because it's very. I think it's really hard to teach yourself something. It's not impossible. It's just hard. So like having that. Okay, I can probably if I go to the game jam, I'll be able to force myself to teach something, and I'll get something done in the weekend. Like that's definitely possible because you're there, you're obligated sort of to do it to yourself than staying at home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like an online one, but then you have this class. And you're like, wait, why don't I just take that 1 hour class? I'll probably gather way more info.
Oh yeah, 6 months of tutorials can be divulged in an hour class.
Yeah, right, of course, yeah.
Because you can ask questions and things like that you can't do with a YouTube video.
You do like Unity classes, Unreal, art, animation, business in the industry. I mean, you did crazy classes you wouldn't even think they were.
And I did this with no experience. I'd never run an event period for anything, and
people
I decided
attend
to do
them all. People are going to all of them.
Oh yeah, and so it was very popular. We had like 70, 80 people, show up at the first time event, the Las Vegas Summer Game Jam, branded it, put my company all over it. Yeah. Got Epic Games to put their logo on it, and so Unreal Engine's logo is on it. Mm-hmm. I know, right? Fortnite hadn't come out yet. I went to LA and found 3 people to sponsor it. Both Epic Games, Houdini.
Met a drunk guy from EA that was kind of a douchebag.
I forgot about that.
Not to point fingers. I just wanted to mention that to everybody.
Interesting.
I want to mention stuff that EA fucks up on.
The weekend at Fortnite, I know keep looking at the camera. The weekend at Fortnite was announced. I was in the building. I shouldn't say announced, released. And it was an Unreal Engine.
I didn't know this.
You know that? Seagraph.
No.
Seagraph 2017.
Wait, they announced
They released it on Friday.
When you met?
They released it on Friday. and I was there on Saturday night for their SIGGRAPH convention in downtown LA.
Wow.
And
for one of the biggest the biggest.
Yeah,
Not one,
yeah, I had no
biggest.
idea it was to become the most famous game in the world at the time. Instead, I remember being there, and they're talking about Unreal Engine and all this stuff, and then they spent so long on this stupid cartoon game I couldn't care about, couldn't care less about.
Like Fortnite.
And that was Fortnite.
That was Fortnite.
So, and it was like there's a storm and stuff, and I didn't give a damn. And I remember they had In-N-Out Burger. Oh, and then I went and I met Tim Sweeney, the creator of Unreal Engine, the owner of Epic Games, a billionaire. And I met him, and it was just one of those. It's like all these weird coincidences. He was on the stage. It was a big theater, a lot of people in it, maybe like 600-700 people in it. So in this theater, I was walking back from the bathroom, and in my direction, walking towards me in this kind of narrow hall, was of course Tim Sweeney by himself. So that was that moment where you're extremely nervous, and you have 3 seconds to do something about it. And at the time, I developed a philosophy, which is there are 3 types of decisions you can always make: the right decision, the wrong decision, and no decision. You tell me which one of those decisions is the worst decision to make.
No decision.
No decision is the worst decision to make. It's better to make an ass out of yourself and a fool out of yourself and completely ruin everything than it is to sit by the sidelines and do nothing. It really
Based
is.
on some of the people I've met in this industry, not particularly true, but sure, we'll play along.
Well, okay.
I know what you mean. It's always better to just step out of your comfort zone and do something.
It's critically better. And so in 3 seconds, hi Tim, my name's Connor. I use Unreal Engine. I want to thank you for whatever. I introduced myself, and then we were talking, and I was like, whoa. And I remember asking him. I said, what advice would you give for me? I said I'm doing this game jam. I'm pitching this certain game to CBS right now, and he said, hire great people. He said, they're out there. It may not seem like it, but they're out there. Hire good people. So I thought that was interesting. So that's what he told me. And I got a picture with him, and then I left, and then I did the game jam. The game jam was really successful. We did it in downtown Vegas. And then I kind of became known as the game guy. And then NAB show, this huge convention out here that gets 100,000 people show up. It's the largest entertainment convention actually in North America, called the Broadcasters National Association of Broadcasters.
Yeah.
He's the entire convention center. Sony, everybody, Microsoft, they're all there.
Yeah, dude, I know.
Game people don't know of it really, but
no. Like, I know tons of people like that you don't even know that go to this.
Oh,
thing.
really?
Like,
okay, yeah. I had never heard of it.
My friend, one of my camera guys, like he goes all the time. Like he loves it.
I never heard of it, but they reach out to me, and they're like, "Hey, this game jam thing's really interesting. We were trying to get into esports. What could you do?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm not really an esports person, but I can get a lot of games in there, and we can kind of make like our own mini E3 kind of thing." And it didn't end up being that, but we made something called the Game Developers Gallery. And I organized a multi-company exhibit, 4 companies, all local. My company, which is literally me and a laptop, but hey, I'm branding it different, and it's just me hustling the entire time, Dotware Games. And then it's 2 VR companies and a mobile games company, all people I know who I trust. And I brought them in. We made this multi-company exhibit, and we made it like an attraction. And I did really different stuff. Like I got a step and repeat with all the company names on it. A sign that says "Take a photo with the developer." Like I consciously I signed autographs with the poster for my game. Oh, I didn't even get to the game. I at that point I had announced my game and been working on it for quite a while, probably 7 months at this point. Called Akhenaten Rule as Pharaoh. Akhenaten Rule as Pharaoh, and coming 2017, no 2018, no 2020 is what it ended up being. I think so because it's still in development. But so then walking to this convention center with a piece of convention real estate that would cost most companies $100,000, knowing that you negotiated it for nothing, and seeing a giant Dotware Games banner above it, and just being like, okay, maybe I have a knack for this business thing. And that's important because the artist in me needs to have somebody who has his back. The artist in me needs to have his art seen. And so I've been making critically important business moves. And then after that super successful event, I found out there's another convention here called Level Up. So then that was 2 weeks later. I'm like, all right, I'm on tour. So then I called them, and then I ended up getting the biggest exhibit space for the company Dotware Games there. And made it into a cool VR attraction. People can play the demo of the Egypt game.
You did that at NAB too.
Yeah. And
That was like the grab. It was
Well,
so
the other
smart.
thing-
That was like, oh shit, VR. I'm gonna go try it. That's what like everyone came into our convention. Like it was like that was the eye candy. And then they got to see like all the other games because we literally had a city builder game, which was yours, then VR, and then mobile.
Yeah.
Like we literally had like all those categories.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
Yeah.
So,
And the hardest category for people at a convention to actually get into is mine, the city building.
No, right.
It's so I'm
For
able
sure.
to leverage all of their attraction. VR is getting lines and stuff. My computers are just so while people are waiting in line. Oh, let's try this one out. But yeah, the other thing is like just reinventing the wheel, I guess, in a way, going like, well, nobody wants just a table with, hey, let's talk about our game. Come over here. Would you like this?
Get away, you pussy.
And we'll talk about it. I'm like, no, make it like a ride.
Right.
You know, like people get in line for. So that's what it is. And so
It worked.
Yeah, it worked. So just gaining experience with that, and then another game jam, which is successful, and then we just did the third one in August. In the meantime, I was talking to different schools about game development because I kind of got a reputation as the game guy. So one high school invited me over, and I was like, okay, cool. You know, basically people were reaching out to me being like, hey, I'm really jaded. I'm not learning what I thought I was going to learn. Am I doing it right? I'm like, well, just tell me, you know, tell your teachers I'll come in if they want me to, and I'll do a lesson in Unreal, boom, for everybody in a day. And I did that. And that worked. And then I got invited back. I did it again. I invited back and did it again. And another school.
Right. So
and
now
another
you're
school.
like, you're a teacher.
Another
as
school.
well
Well,
as a,
I'm like an invitee.
Yeah.
But eventually one of these schools was open-minded enough to be like, hey, why don't we just make a classroom for this guy and hire him? So then I got offered that. So then I had to go through the process of becoming a teacher and the licensure and all that. And then that took a really long time. And then I started late in the year, last year, October, and I started teaching game development classes full-time at a high school.
Mm-hmm.
And we're coming up on a year of that. And I have a classroom of 32 iMacs. I still teach it. Taught it today. We'll teach it tomorrow. And I teach them Unreal Engine. And I've made it like this, my own little game studio where I'm teaching, you know, probably 100 people a day, Unreal Engine development. Here's the thing. This has made me a formidable developer. See, people go to school, just study books all day. I mean, first off, no one does that because everybody's freaking lazy. But those who do it, that's critical. But what I have as an advantage is this is kind of like my Hamburg. If you look at the history of the Beatles, before they were famous and before they were the Beatles, you know, they actually were doing a club 7 nights a week for 3 years in a row. They were doing 8-hour gigs. 8-hour gigs. No band has done that. In fact, if you look in history, it looks, apparently, this is like in the book called Outliers and stuff by Malcolm Gladwell, it appears that no other band has had as much time on stage as the Beatles, and this is prior to them becoming successful. So there's something to be said that, and that's that whole 10,000 hour rule and everything. I don't even think I have 10,000 hours in game development, but what I do have is my Hamburg, because every day I go in, and for 7 hours from 7 a.m. to 2 in the afternoon, I am being asked questions about Unreal Engine and development and solving tons of problems. So I'm being exposed to every arcane issue in the engine, every strange request, everything that isn't even in my wheelhouse that don't have to do with games for me. So it's like over the last year, I've just been like soaking in, like this is my university. And then of course going with that, teaching and learning how to communicate, because I teach at a very public school. So the public school that I teach at is kind of a neighborhood school is what they call it. And you can intuit what that means. But when I go into, like, imagine this. Imagine this is what a day in their life is like. Oh, you want to teach everybody game development? Cool. Every student has 36-inch iMac distraction in front of them. And you can't see all their faces, and you cannot see all their screens. You can just see the screens on the 2 rows on the side, but these 2 rows you can't. You're trying to project, you're trying to talk, you're trying to explain a particular thing that they have to follow along and do, and you're going from step A to step C, and right now you're on B. Now, if you get lost on step B, everybody will be lost for 20 minutes, and you're going to be explaining things individually. I've had it. It's like, so you have to kind of like sense the roller coaster and just form your words just correctly so they understand something very complicated that you're just trying to get them from step A to step C. Okay, everybody.
It sounds like you're a teacher that cares, though.
I do. Yes,
Yeah.
I am.
Like,
I am.
seriously.
Yeah.
That's like...
So...
You become impatient.
Well,
with
thank you.
points.
Well,
Yeah.
we'll get more to that maybe. But what it'll look like is this. I'll be explaining it day in life. All right, everybody. I need you to click the green Add New button in the lower left. This is a secondhand muscle memory thing I've learned. Is not just saying what to do, but actually having a visual memory. Again, it's opposite of what's on the board because you're thinking about their lower left, not yours, and getting that. The green Add New button lower left. Okay. Now I want you to click Blueprint class, actor. And then also you're reiterating information where you're going like, well, I don't want to just say what to do. They need to know what that means. So I'll insert a little comment, be like, blueprint class, actor. By the way, actor is just a weird word for just a thing. Anything in the world is an actor. Okay. So you do little things like that so they can kind of get something to understand about it. In the meantime, you have this insecurity that if you stop for a second or say the wrong thing, somebody's going to get in the wrong step and everybody will be confused. And it's 20 minutes of explaining things. It happens time and time again. So you have to ride your words very carefully, not over-explain, not under-explain, get them through the steps. Meanwhile, on either rows, you start to see people who are on the wrong screen. Now, if you stop yourself to help them, hey guys, you're on the wrong screen, this guy over here is going to get distracted. Or so you have to get to step C before you can say anything because you're in the middle of this thing. Then you see that 3 people over here are just watching YouTube. And these are the type of people who are going to be asking you the question later. But you need to follow along now because I don't want to be doing a 20-minute private tutorial with you later when we're doing the lesson. Then
guys,
somebody gets up and just walks out of the room and you have no idea where they went. Then a conversation starts to emerge. People are talking, laughing, giggling. Then over here, and you want to tell them, "Hey guys, we're doing a lesson."
It's like you're
quiet,
sending them a message right now.
You can't, but you can't say that. But again, if you interrupt yourself before you get to step C, everybody gets lost. So you're going to tolerate it for a second, but it's starting to grow. Another person gets up, walks out. More people. Now there's people who are trying to do the right thing, but they're completely on the wrong screen. Then you hear someone say the N-word, and it's just like, what do you do at this point? What do you do as a teacher?
Damn.
When do you stop?
It's not good.
That's a daily occurrence for me as a teacher.
Are you serious?
Oh, 100%.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So it isn't easy. It's not just, hey guys,
Jeez.
interested audience, you're interested in game design? No. A lot of these guys are on their phone. They're not. It's a magnet program. They're supposed to be there because they want to be there, right? They signed up for it. But you also, the whole time, you have to make it entertaining. That's the other thing I've done. I learned how to make it entertaining, to make them want to be interested in this. That's the other secret. So, oh my gosh, I've been challenged on so many different levels, so many different muscles, right? It's made me a much better communicator. It's made me a formidable developer. It's made me absolutely, I'm an expert in this stuff at this point. In Unreal Engine, I'm an expert. That doesn't mean I'm a master, but I am an expert. And so that has led to me training other people and private training and showing people, and I've done events and showcases. I'm doing an event tomorrow. I'm doing an event on Friday. I'm doing a free event tomorrow with Christian Allen of Epic Games, right? He's on Wikipedia. All right. I'm opening for him. And that's because of just connections and stuff I've made who've thrown, him my way, whatever. But and then on Friday, I'll be teaching a class in Henderson, and then Saturday, I'll be teaching a private class also in Henderson. And I got hired to teach college over the summer. That ended recently. I don't want to go over the story. It's too late for that, I think. But I've taught college level classes, and they were the best college classes that college had ever had. And I had several students say that. Most of them had never touched a game engine before. They didn't know what one was, and they were third-year students in supposedly game art. And I got them working and doing really fun stuff with like materials and stuff, which is a study of graphics, how to make things look realistic and stylized and metallic and shiny and water and moving and normal maps and bump maps and roughness and all these like amazing things. And in the meantime, though, I've been developing a video game.
All right.
Which we
I'm gonna
haven't
stop you
even
there.
talked about.
We're going to take another break. We will get back to Akhenaten Rule as Pharaoh. Yeah, thank you again, everybody. So stay tuned. We will be back. All right, everybody, we are back again. So this brings us to your actual game, Akhenaten. So where do we start?
Where do we start? So I mentioned that I was interested in archaeology. That led to me taking some classes in Egyptology. A really good teacher. Andrew Kinkella, Moorpark College. So I love that class, and I love the Egyptology one. I've always been interested in Egypt as a kid, but now as an adult, I'm like, I want to study this thing. Amazing. And what I learned about in that class was a pharaoh called Akhenaten, who is basically, he's a guy he was a pharaoh who came in and changed everything. He rejected all of the old gods. Yeah. He rejected all of the old gods. He changed all the art. He changed the capital. He went into the middle of the desert and decided, okay, this is where our capital is. They built a city from scratch. He was very, very weird pharaoh. But of course, having changed religion, changed all these things, he robbed everybody else of their power. So once he died, all of the old priest class and everything basically went on a smear campaign of banishing him from the history. His son, the pharaoh everybody knows, King Tut. King Tut was Akhenaten's son. King Tut wasn't born King Tutankhamun, which is the name that we know, Tutankhamun. He was
Is that how you pronounce it?
That's how you pronounce it in Egypt. Yeah, it's actually Tutankhamun, the King Tut. He was born something Aten, because Akhenaten wasn't even born as Akhenaten. His name was, I think, Tutmosis IV. Akhenaten changed his name. What it means is Aten means the sun. He said there was one god, not all these pantheons of gods. He said that god was the sun, which is called the Aten. He said, and I am of the Aten, Akhenaten. And he said his son is of the Aten. But of course, when Akhenaten died, his son was put in as the king, and all the people, all the influencers, like Game of Thrones style, totally manipulated the boy king into rejecting all the policies of his father and restoring the old ways. And so Tutankhamun was born. So his name became Tutankhamun, and Amun is a word that more references the pantheon of gods. So he changed his name back to something referencing the pantheon of gods. And King Tut isn't famous for anything he really did as a pharaoh. He died when he was like 18 or 19, and he was a puppet king for everybody else. And why he's famous is because he's the only pharaoh whose tomb was discovered intact before being totally grave robbed. So he's the only, and a very minor pharaoh, if you think of it in terms of what he probably had accumulated versus other huge pharaohs would have had. Anyway, wasn't thinking about video games back when I was taking this class. This is now fast forward way later, a year later. And I mean, if there was an exact moment, there may not have been, but if there was, it was because I was watching Prince of Egypt. I'd gotten back into that movie. And the opening scene, the 4 or 5 minute scene where it's just it's a very dark movie. The Prince of Egypt's DreamWorks first movie. It's a cartoon, and it's a story of the Exodus from the Bible, the rise of the Hebrews, and their subjugation of slavery under Pharaoh, and then their deliverance. And that first 5 minutes of that movie is showcasing this Egyptian world and these huge monuments to this one man that people are slaving away at, building stone monuments of and towards, and scaffolding all around. And I thought, whoa, I want that job. It turns out, though, that job was outsourced a long time ago. So what's the next best thing? Oh, what if there's a video game that simulates you being Pharaoh, king of Egypt? What was really cool is, from what I learned about Pharaoh and all this stuff, is being Pharaoh wasn't just a king. He was also considered God by his people. He was Horus incarnate as a man. So being worshipped and being obeyed and all of these things, I'm like, this is a job that a few hundred people in history had because they were born in the right place at the right time. Whoa. Now, why isn't there a video game that simulates that? With all of the beauty and all of the everything from like Prince of Egypt and all that. So I set about making the idea. I called it Akhenaten, Rule as Pharaoh. Why do I call it Akhenaten? People are like, well, you play Akhenaten? Well, he's a weird pharaoh. Whatever. You play whatever pharaoh you want. You name your pharaoh in the beginning. You choose the traits of your pharaoh. You choose, for example, you have one of two rises to power, how you came to be to power, which totally impact the rest of the game. One is you're either dynastic, which means you were born as pharaoh to be pharaoh, and that means that everything is very stable when you arrive, or you come in as a usurper, which means you killed and conquered and usurped the throne from the last pharaoh. If you do that, that's kind of like the hard mode, but it also lets you change the laws and stuff a lot faster. And so my game, you can enact slavery, you could pay your workers well. Pyramids were built by paid workers, not slaves. So like pharaohs did different things at different times. You could be whatever pharaoh you want to be. Cruel, kind, loved, hated, walked over, not feared, feared. And so I wanted to make this game. I called it Akhenaten because Akhenaten to me is a synonymous definition of the range of pharaonic rule. You see, the Egyptians invented the concept of an absolute dictator, and they embraced it for 3,000 plus years.
Mm-hmm.
They defined what that meant. Absolute power. And there's a lot of freedom in that when you're an absolute dictator of how to be. Not total freedom. I mean, they thought they were gods, but they all died. They're still mortal people. But man, did they have power, especially at that time when they were considered as the heads of state, but also the heads of the world, of the earthly plane. To me, Akhenaten represents the strange, bizarre, how far you can stretch absolute pharaonic pharaoh power to its limit. So that you could be as traditional as a Ramesses or something, or as bizarro weird out there as an Akhenaten. And so Akhenaten is the name of the game because for me, he represents, that name is a word to me, and it means the range of absolute pharaonic power. So that leads to the game's tagline, which is, I use a tagline this in my design and, and how what I'm trying to offer to people. The game's tagline is this: absolute power. Absolutely.
Why'd you have to say it like you were Joey Salads or like Fousey 2 or something? You just ruined the whole thing. You were literally about to sell it, and then now they're not going to buy it. So well done. No, kidding.
Absolute power. Absolutely. And then the other name is Build an Empire or Amuse Yourself Tearing One Down. So, which is a modification of one of the lines in The Prince of Egypt. Yeah, it's a high graphics city builder built in Unreal Engine. And over time, I've been working on it since 2017. It's 2019 at the time of this interview. I thought it was going to come out in 2018. It didn't. I was for sure it was going to come out this year. And it didn't. And the thing is I've just been busy. Like, I didn't know I was going to become a teacher. I didn't know I was going to become a teacher twice. I didn't know I was going to be a teacher 3 places. A few months ago, I was teaching at 3 places, 3 jobs, developing games. And then I had interns for a period of time and all of that. And then I was running events, and it's like, oh, the game jam's coming up already. Okay, I got to organize that. That takes a month or more, and I just don't get any development time done. Right. So the game's been delayed, but in the meantime, I've been getting better and better. That's the other thing is like, I've just been getting so much better that the game is much more possible. And I've rewritten so much code and rewritten so many things, and other things became possible. And you have feature creep, which is a game design term, which happens to game designers and developers, which means that features creep into, they just creep, they slip in easily, like no big deal, Jeepers and they end up becoming the biggest time suck of the entire project. The lamp was like that. The lamp took a year or more to make, and there was no way to even make money off of that, right? At least with this one, I can build a business off of it. At least I'm trying to. So with Akhenaten Rule as Pharaoh, yes, there's been some feature creep because, as you unlock your abilities and learn more about Unreal, you go, oh, I can do this thing. Oh, I can make my buildings. I can use what Battlefield does to make walls fall apart when you shoot them, destructible meshes. I can have my buildings collapse due to that. Well, that's got to be featured in the game. So you start adding in features you didn't know you wanted. So the game's in a really good state right now. The theme of the game has absolutely changed over time. At first, I thought I was designing a city builder, and now I realize I'm designing a role-playing game through the mechanics of a city builder, and that's never been done before, I think. So because that's what's unique. In most city building games, you're an anonymous architect, and that's cool because it's strategy, and you're managing your resources, and you're increasing your economy, and you're making your people happy. But nobody knows who you are, except for like Tropico. Tropico's the one that embraces like, hey, El Tropico, you're the dictator, right? That's the closest thing that my game is. My game, you can call it Tropico in Ancient Egypt, kind of.
In Jurassic Park Operation Genesis, some elements, I would say.
There's some elements, but
the movies,
The Sims, it's kind of like those
Zoo
things.
Tycoon 2.
Yeah.
Which is my shit. That was my shit growing up.
Yeah. Exactly. So what I realized, so I'm fully embracing that it's an RPG. That's what I got into. Morrowind, right? These games where it's a role-playing game. Because Pharaoh, everything in Ancient Egypt, it's unique to Ancient Egypt too, by the way. Mm-hmm. Everything is a reflection of Pharaoh. So you're building statues of your face to look over your people as they walk to work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I look like that too.
That's what you do. Hello there. And so
Hello there.
everything's a reflection of you. So then I just started incorporating, fully embracing it. You level up your character. You name your character. You have different traits for your character. You can walk around as your character in the world with no loading time. Jump right into that. Now you can ride chariots around.
All right, easy, freak. We got some things to say here. We want to
More
see
wine.
this shit.
Oh,
So get on that shit.
I know. So many events. Now that I'm not teaching college at nights, just doing the high school in the days, I have way more time.
We'll see it soon.
You'll see something soon. I'm trying to work on a demo right now.
It looks good. I mean, it looks really good, but like I'm the only one that knows that, you know?
Yeah, there's some GIFs online. So the
amazing.
GIFs. the only
Don't let people give you shit for that. I hate those people. They shouldn't be allowed to vote.
the slings of air.
GIF or GIF?
I've been assassinated for calling it a GIF
Same.
like 4 times last month. So
Yeah,
now
it's
I'm all
so annoying.
scared too.
I know. It's like, geez, I won't say I'm a Republican.
Easy,
No.
freak. Yeah. So that's a good sandwich. Where was I? That's a lot of wine.
What you're talking about? Akhenaten.
Well, but
Well,
about
like,
Akhenaten.
about how, you know,
Oh well, I was just saying you could ride chariots around your world.
Mhm.
You know,
Which is badass.
Yeah, in terms you said like it's like the movies. Well, I made it so now you can kind of like it's more gamey, but that's okay. I was trying to avoid that and stuff, but like again, I'm distilling the personality of a 3,000-year-old nation into one thing.
Right.
Okay, you can't do that realistically.
Right.
If you try and take the historical approach, you're gonna fail, and it's not gonna be interesting. So I've chosen over time. This was a hard sell for me to process because I wanted to be very historical in the beginning and everything. Now it's like, no, we're gonna exaggerate. The statues are gonna be bigger than they actually are if you go there. It's gonna be more, it's the mummy, it's the Prince of Egypt, it's all this stuff because I have to distill the feeling, the personality of the ancient Egyptian world, and that's okay. I've chosen to do that consciously. And then there's other things like I said, making more gamey. You mentioned the movies. Now you can pick people up and they're like flailing as you and drop them off somewhere. I'm wearing a shirt right now. I gotta show this. That's perfect.
All right, Spider-Man. Let's go.
Yeah.
Superman.
This is the part where I take off my clothes. But my shirt says, "Feed your people, feed your crocodiles, feed your people to your crocodiles. Akhenaten rule as Pharaoh."
Oh, I thought that was a EA slogan for their employees. How they treat their
I've
employees.
stolen that a little
Yeah,
bit.
oops.
So that is my passion project. It's going to be my first commercial video game ever released. It'll be the first thing I've actually sold. Yes, I've done things for other things, CBS, demo, important high-level stuff, I think. Actually, I know. I can't say what that is. Other things, unfinished projects and stuff. But the first thing that I'll be selling, successful mods. I mean, the lamp and the merch fin is one of the most
I'm gonna
link
link I'm gonna link everything below. So if you guys want to play the mods, I'll link those below.
Yeah.
And if you want to add the game to your wish list, I'll link that below as well as his social media. But before I let you go, I have one question.
Okay.
Please, I hope you have time because this is unrelated, but I want to hear
Okay.
it.
I had one more thing actually I want to add.
Oh, go for it. Yeah.
Well, I just want to say that Akhenaten Rule as Pharaoh is, I think, the only city building game I'm going to make. Everything else is planned after that in RPG. Now, I'm not going to go in and spoil it. You know a lot. You know
It's
these,
so good,
these
I know.
ideas.
Yeah.
But I can just about promise people the games get way more interesting.
Oh my God. Yeah. I'm like waiting. I just want you to get done with this shit. I mean, because I've been seeing this Akhenaten for like 3 years, and I'm just like, dude, I'm sick of it already.
I
Like,
know, me
want-
too. Some days I
I'm
wait.
like-
I'm just so sick of ancient Egypt. It's
I know. I'm just like, bro, let's go into the game. I want to like you to. Make
yeah,
it,
yeah. Oh,
it's all good.
You think
It'll
it's
get there.
sci-fi game?
Oh yeah. But I like American history too. Just saying. But so I do have a question. Unless there's anything else you want to add, there. But yeah, everything's linked below to his stuff. Add it to your wish list
Yeah.
on Steam. It's
Add
there.
it to your wish list. Give me money. Appreciate it. The point is that Dotware Games, and I'm much more upfront about this now, is one person. It's me. It's me and a laptop. That's it. That's who's responding to the YouTube comments. That's who's designing the game. That's who's designing the menus. That's who's updating Steam. That's who's responding to comments elsewhere. That's who's engaging in marketing. That's who you're getting an email from, et cetera, et cetera. I don't plan. I mean, this could always change, but I'm trying to build a company that could be a machine for making large games. So that's why I'm invested so much time into the community of Las Vegas and trying to get into education and stuff. We have no game design colleges. We have none of that stuff. It's so silly. So that in the next 5 to 10 years, and I could have talent that I could hire and work with. And most of them probably have been taught by me, which is imperfect. So I'm trying to help germinate a game industry so that these other larger projects, because they get larger as they go on. We have about 9 to 10 projects in pre-development, depending on how you count it.
You don't see yourself going back to LA or anything?
I could totally be like, yeah, screw this whole business thing and just whatever.
What about with the business? I mean, it is all out there. I mean, just like film, that's where a bunch of the stuff is.
Maybe. This thing is Las Vegas is conquerable because it ends in every...
Jesus.
It ends in...
Octavian?
It ends 30 miles in every direction. 45 minutes in every direction it ends.
I just want to stick my dotware dick everywhere.
Exactly. It's
exactly
what
I'm already creating
and I'm
memes.
Sure some of my enemies
20 years
think I'm doing that right now, and you know what? They're exactly right.
Fuck yeah, we'll talk about that.
We'll have a whole podcast
on
on the people who
there's
don't
some
like
fucking
Mr.
freaks.
Torres.
There's a
for some reason.
Yeah, there's some freaks in this industry,
It really
man.
is.
That's what I've met.
It really sucks because all I've done
Dude,
is
I
be
haven't even.
kind
I'm
and
not
try
even
to
in the
build
industry. I've met the
beautiful
freaks.
things.
I've met the freaks. Like
You have.
it's crazy.
You've seen this firsthand. And we have a freak story from yesterday that's just like I get about probably one serious enemy just try to tear my life down in the terms of games and stuff. Once every 8 months, and it's just so bizarre because it's usually people I've helped. It's usually people I've engaged with a conscious
this
effort
does
towards
happen
excellence.
to people. This does happen to people with your sort of entrepreneur personality.
Yeah, because I stand out.
Like that's the thing. I remember we've talked about this because
Yeah.
we had with all that drama we had, which again we can't get into it right now. It's probably too soon anyway. It's like the thing. There's a difference between jealousy and envy, and jealousy
you
can
said
be
this
used.
yesterday. I like
Jealousy
this.
can be used to motivate you. You know, it could be used to, man, I want what he has, because that's what jealousy is. I want what you have. Envy is, I don't want you to have what you have. That is not good, because when you're envious, you are not only going to try and potentially hurt somebody else that whether they deserve it or well. If you're envious, the person you're envious towards definitely doesn't deserve it. There's no scenario where, you know what I mean? But you're also going to not get anywhere in your own life because it's a short-term thinking strategy when you're envious, and that's definitely what went down yesterday and with some nonsense that happened.
Big nonsense.
Really, really insane.
Big checkbox.
Yeah, so, but, whatever, fuck those guys. So, this is what I wanted to ask you, though.
Just on adding to that,
go for it.
Because we talked about it before. It's you find yourself in that situation where you end up being the Abel to somebody's Cain.
Yeah,
and it's just
it
weird.
happens.
It's just people.
It happens in every industry. I bet,
it
does. Yeah.
If you're doing your best and trying to, do your best, somebody is their nature is against that or whatever. So yeah, that's the best way of looking at it. Okay, last question. Let's go.
All right, this is off topic, but I want to ask you this. I want a ghost story. Or UFO story, or monster story, or anything you have.
Okay.
I kind of got. Well, I don't even want to. I'm gonna give them credit just because I like them. I got H3H3's podcast used to do this.
Brilliant. Yeah.
But like we've been doing this our whole lives, so
yeah.
but
you're gonna know all the ones I'm gonna say.
I know, but they're not. They're not.
Do I have really good ones?
You must.
I have the bed one. I tell a lot.
One's weird. You want to go for that one?
Okay.
You just do one for now.
Once upon a time,
in Hollywood,
I was maybe 7 years old, 8 years old. And that's why I believe that this happened forever until now I'm an adult. I'm like, well, maybe, when you're 7 years old, who knows what's real? I had a car bed. That's a bed that looks like a car. Okay.
Wait, like really? That's what it is?
Well, it's not. In case you thought it was a bed. Yeah, a car that looks like a bed. No, it's a bed that looks like a car. So it was a red car bed. It was at our old house in California, which is a very old house. Someone apparently died in the house. You know that?
Oh, fuck, no.
You know that? Yeah, mom and dad told me that.
What
the house
fuck?
was built in like the 40s or 50s. Somebody did die in the house.
Yikes,
apparently.
okay.
From what I understand.
That'll explain a little more.
I was in the back room as my room. I had my car bed. Because it was a car bed, it was shaped like a car, right? It was all red and plastic and stuff. It kind of curved in on the sides. And so I'd always lay in the bed, and I remember I'd always put my hand down between the wall and the bed side where it curved in, so where I had room, because it would always be really cold down there for some reason. I used to like that feeling. And then I remember one night doing that and feeling another hand grab mine and pull hard.
Oh, fuck.
And me trying to get out of it, screaming.
Oh, fuck.
Crying immediately. It was a scream cry. And then mom and dad rushing in and me blubbering. I couldn't even explain what had happened. And then being like, leaving the light on.
Exactly why I'm afraid to have kids, because I don't want to run in at 3 a.m. one day and you're like, the doll stabbed me in the face! And just like staring at you like that. Yeah.
So,
just like the smile.
that was it.
Oh,
that was the end of the story. Anyway, to this day, whenever I get into a bed, I like leap over like the corners, and I am like this. I don't go anywhere near it. Like it is built in my muscle memory. I'm so freaked out about that.
That's
so.
Who knows, man? That's creepy. What do you think now? Do you think you being a little kid, or do you just don't know?
Well, I will say this: the bed, and I guess this makes it less creepy, to be honest.
Was there something like a curve or something weird like that?
It could have been my arm got stuck or whatever,
right.
but I thought it.
But you said you thought you felt a pull,
a hand, boom, pulling. I will say this: there's no way that no one could have fit under the bed. I don't know if that makes it less creepy or more creepy.
That makes it definitely less creepy. That means there wasn't some like serial killer just like.
I cannot answer the question right now.
Bill Cosby, what are you doing here?
He's got Go back to sleep. I think we should
got those sweaters on. All right. That was a good story. Thank you for joining me on this and being my first guest for this. There's going to be a lot of people I'm looking forward to talking to. Definitely you're not coming back. You weren't that interesting. No, I'm kidding. So, yeah, again, Akhenaten rule as Pharaoh. I'm going to link the Steam store down below. You'll be able to see like the teaser trailer and some screenshots and, ask some questions if you're interested. He'll respond.
I will respond. I'm way better about that.
Yeah, if you have any about
I'm
anything,
responding to you.
Yeah,
and if not, email me.
And expect to see. I'm gonna put pressure on you, but expect to see another trailer soon. There's a lot more content that's incredible of this game. It really is. I mean, we've not shown a lot still, and so I expect to see that.
I'm trying to make something.
You'll get it.
Beautiful, meaningful. Has never been done before.
Okay, John Hammond. Anyway, yeah, any social medias down there, give them a follow. Adultware Games, I'll link it down below. But yeah, thank you everyone. Please like the video, subscribe, and I appreciate you tuning into this. So,
cheers.
Bid you adieu. Cheers.